win. He also said, quote, best case scenario for us is he knocks Floyd Mayweather out cold. It'll be the biggest upset in history of any sports ever in the history of the world. Shannon, do you agree with Dana?
I do agree, because basically Conor McGregor is an amateur boxer. He's not Golden Gloves trained. He's not Olympic trained. He is an amateur fighter, and he will have beaten an all-time great. Now, no one will remember that Floyd is 40 years old. No one will remember he hadn't fought in 2 years. No one will care about that. All they'll care about is that he's beaten a 49-0 fighter. Skip, when we look at these mythical upsets, these great upsets, we go back 1980, U.S. hockey team against the Soviets. Now, the Soviets had just beaten them, what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks earlier, 10-3, leading up to the Olympics. But the only difference, Skip, even though they were college guys, they were skaters. They were going against pro Russians, but that's what they did. Buster Douglas, when he beat Mike Tyson, it wasn't like he was a scrap heat guy. He was a heavyweight fighter. You're getting a guy that's never fought professionally in a boxing ring before in his life. He's never had an amateur fight, and he's going up against an all-time, a generational fighter. 49-0, 5 divisions, from 130 to 154. And if he beats him, how can you say it's not the greatest upset in sports history? Dana White, I don't agree with everything you said, but I agree with you 1,000% in this one. If he were to beat Floyd Mayweather, it is the greatest upset in sports history.
So greater than the U.S. hockey upset?
Yes.
Greater than any of the big NCAA basketball upsets?
Yes.
Super Bowl upsets?
Yes.
Buster Douglas upset?
Yes.
I can go on and on. It'll be the greatest ever.
Yep.
I didn't know where you were going to go with this, but I was going to hold your feet to the fire because you see this fight as a joke. You think that Floyd, as Shane Mosley said, will be laughing in the first round of this fight, like he will just toy with Conor McGregor. So then you would have to conclude this would be the greatest upset ever.
Yeah.
If Conor landed one punch, right?
Even if it wasn't a joke, Skip. Even if you just take, let's just say you just take a fighter, and his debut fight, he's going up against Floyd Mayweather, and he's 0-0, and he had an okay amateur career. Maybe won a Golden Glove here or there, and he beat Floyd Mayweather. That's gonna be the biggest upset. When you took Buster Douglas, no one really had heard of Buster Douglas, but Skip, he was a skilled fighter. He beat a guy nobody could put a dent into. He was winning titles. He was the youngest heavyweight at 20, champion at 20, and he was knocking people out for their belts in 90 seconds. Nobody was going 3-4 rounds with him, Skip. So nobody gave Buster Douglas a chance. Not only did he beat him, he destroyed him. Mike Tyson was never the same after that fight. They could say, well, it was because he went to prison. He spent 2-3 years in prison. No, that fight took more out of Mike Tyson than prison did. And if Conor McGregor were to beat Floyd, see, Dana says if he knocks him out, even if he beats him, Skip, that's like a guy, let's just say a guy played high school basketball, but he hadn't played in 15 years. And all of a sudden, he's like, you know what, LeBron, I want you one-on-one. And he beats him. That's what this is, Skip. Nobody's looking at LeBron James. LeBron's been 15th season. He's played like 55,000 minutes when you count regular season playoffs. Nobody cares about that, Skip. You let a guy just came off the street that played high school ball 10, 15 years ago, and he just beat the greatest player and that's playing currently. Skip, that's what this would be. Conor McGregor is not a boxer. If all he did was box, and he beat Floyd, I still believe it would be the greatest upset because no one really knows who Conor McGregor is as far as the boxing game. But to come from MMA with no Golden Gloves or amateur background and to do this to an all-time generational fighter, there is no question this is the greatest upset ever. But it won't happen. So I can say all that. I say all that to say this. It's not going to happen. So guess what? U.S. Olympic hockey team, y'all still going to have that distinction. The greatest upset ever belongs to the United. That's not leaving. That's not leaving America. So, Island, don't even get your hopes up.
Once again, I'm going to defend the honor and the dignity of one Conor McGregor. This will not be the greatest upset ever because Floyd Mayweather is 40 and a half years old. He has not been in a real fight, a real battle, for 3 years, back to the second Maidana fight. 3 years.
Wait, Pacquiao.
You can't. Pacquiao needed surgery on his rotator cuff the day after that fight right here in Las Vegas.
And
he tore it 3 weeks earlier in sparring sessions and asked for a cortisone injection, a pain-killing injection that night in Las Vegas. The Nevada Commission said no. And he had to fight with one arm. And you know what? He fought with one arm and came out of the fight without a mark on his face.
Yeah, he did.
That's how little Floyd can punch at this stage and age of his career.
But Skip,
Okay, so I was there that night in 1980 at Lake Placid, and this is how huge that upset was. This, as you point out, 3 weeks earlier at Madison Square Garden in an exhibition, the Russian pros had beaten them, and this is a hockey score, 10-3. That's like 100-1. You know, that's the equivalent of that score. And it was so bad, that team had so little chance, our little amateurs up against the Russian pros, that on that night, I was working for the Dallas Morning News, the columnist for the news, covering the Olympics in Lake Placid. I went to the press liaison, and I said, do you have any tickets left for that thing, that little hockey match that's going to go on? This was the semifinals on Friday night. And he said, I got dozens of tickets. Nobody wants to go to it. I went to the hockey match, and it's like half empty in a little stadium that held, not a little arena, it was like 7,000. There might have been 3,000 people there. Nobody thought our little kids had a chance. That was the greatest upset I ever witnessed because they were completely overmatched. Conor McGregor is the baddest man on the planet, and I'm going to tell you once again, his greatest skill is a boxing skill. I know he can kick. I know he gets forced to wrestle occasionally, which he does not do very well. That's how he loses. And in the second Diaz fight, he just said, nope, I'm not going on the ground. You cannot get me on the ground. He boxed him, and he beat a man that outweighed him by, I don't know, 30 pounds.
But Skip, he beat another MMA fighter. Nobody is saying Nate Diaz is a great boxer. Floyd Mayweather is a generational fighter. He's going to go down no matter what you think of him outside of the boxing ring. Inside the ring, Skip, he's a generational fighter. And Conor McGregor has no previous professional boxing experience, Skip.
But he boxes for a living in a sport that has overtaken boxing. Boxing is dying. Floyd is conventional by the book, the greatest defensive fighter ever. He's going to be up against a force and a combat IQ that he has never encountered in a boxing ring.
It ain't going to happen. I wish him the best, but it ain't going to happen.
You know what would be an upset if you ever beat Skip in a debate?
Tear him up. I tear him up daily. I do what I do. I just make it.
Up next, Ice Cube is here.
Cube know what's up.
Cube, make your pick for the fight on Saturday.
I already know.
Floyd or Conor.